Hi, I'm Laura, and I'm with the Gardening Volunteers of South Texas, and I'm here with Terry and John, and we're here to discuss some of the very important things about planting in the fall. You want to make sure that you plant in the fall so that your plants have a chance to really get a good root system before they move forward into the spring, which is the growing system. With the water situation in San Antonio and the very hot summer we've had, we have the perfect chance now to work with Terry and John to see some of the area in their yard that they would like to improve by utilizing the good planning and good gardening advice that's given by the Gardening Volunteers of South Texas, and especially at our Water Saver Landscape Design School. So Terry, what do you think would be a good thing to start with for your design?
Well, since we have our deck is a really nice place to be, I'd like to continue that on and then be able to walk down those stairs and sit in a place that would be very welcoming, and the opportunity to perhaps read or relax and just extend our home to the outside.
Well, that's an excellent idea, and she has a nice area back here, so why don't we go down the stairs and take a look?
Okay, well, as you see here, we have a wonderful opportunity because we really have not done anything here. So it's wide open, and you know, I would love some help understanding and making choices.
So Terry and John, you have a really nice blank canvas here. You've got some beautiful trees, and of course you want to save those trees, but you also want to utilize this area. Okay. So with this blank canvas, you need to look at the sun and see how much sun you get, not just in the morning, but throughout the day. We would also be looking at possibly amending the soil because it hasn't been utilized recently. Also, you've got a good area between the tree and the deck up there on the steps we came down to utilize that for maybe some more sun-tolerant plants. Okay. But you want to do all of this within the area under the tree. Was that close to what you're interested in?
I think that sounds great. That sounds wonderful. I want color, you know, and how best that happens.
You can also utilize either paving stones or flagstones to get from the deck over to this area. Okay. And when we were talking a while ago, you mentioned that possibly some type of gazebo in this area, so you would have a little more shade and a little more friendly spot to sit. Right. Also, you've got a lot of open area, so it really gives her a chance to look at a lot of plant material, and because there's no pavement or cement back here, she's got a really open slot area to where she can do a lot of imaginative work. So John, do you have any thoughts or questions on this project?
Well, can you give us some idea of how long the process would take and when we would see a nice space here?
Well, because you're not having to do a lot of demolition in this area, you're going to be able to start quicker. And what it would best do is to, in your planning, is to draw something in of what you would like. So you can get an idea of how much soil amendment you're going to need, how many pavers you're going to need, the distance between the tree to the deck, and also what you're going to plant. Your planting material, even though that's the most fun, is going to be the last thing. As far as doing this prep work, I think it would probably take, depending upon whether you do it yourself or hire it to be done, probably a month, maybe 2, to get everything in, to get all of the stuff set so you're ready to go with setting in pavers and putting in mulch and doing the fun part, which is the planting. So it's possible to get that done before the fall, or you can do it in bits and pieces where you do just this area out here and maybe in the spring you do this. Well, Terry, John, now that we've seen your yard and we've seen what you have out there, the next thing is to actually put pencil to paper and look at what you think you would like to have. So let's start with that area that we looked at out back, and some of the primary things are to draw in the tree area. And when you draw in the tree area, that gives you a focus of your planting. It also gives you an area to where you're going to see where the sun is and as the sun moves over. You also were talking about the gazebo, and we saw the little area in the back near the fence. And that fence which goes under your deck, that would be a really good place. Do you think that would be something you would be interested in doing?
I think so. I had never thought about that, and really tried to look around so that I wouldn't encroach on the next door neighbor's area or whatever. And so I think up against that area would be perfect, as you said. And then as it was said, it's like we could see and actually watch the trees as they
right, and see underneath the trees. And also putting a gazebo in this area would be a really good idea, because you could have plantings around the gazebo. It's not just plopping it down in the middle of the open area, but putting in maybe some pots or maybe some raised beds or something around there that would give you color. You could use annuals in there. You could use possibly some succulents, and put some color around that area, so you would see the color around the gazebo as well as what you're seeing underneath the trees. Also, this would be an easy first step, because, like we said, there's nothing in there to take out. So you could actually get the gazebo, get that installed, get some paving stones or flagstone around there, and purchase some plants which would give you some really nice pops of color to start and give you a little more inspiration. Well, Terry, John, I really want to thank you for allowing us to come to your home and visit your yard and give you some information about good gardening in San Antonio. We also want to let people know that there are several books that are available, especially at the GVST Water Saver Landscape Design School. If you're a SAWS customer and you're a SAWS Rewards customer, you can get some rewards points for attending our school. You'll also get these 3 books, which will give you a lot of excellent information on planting, on which plants would survive best in here. Texas, of course, is a large state, so we want to make sure that we give information applicable to this area. And the Landscape Design School is at the San Antonio Botanical Garden. There's 2 of them this year. One is on September the 10th. The other one is on October the 8th. And we would really love for y'all to attend that and maybe just pick up some additional ideas. We thank you very much again for allowing us into your home and your yard, and good gardening, San Antonio.
So Brad, thanks for being with us this morning, and
Thanks, Nancy.
to let our viewers know, you're with the Conservation Department as a planner, and you have actually implemented some of the practices that you're trying to teach to your customers in your own yard.
I have. I moved into this house 4 years ago and wanted to start early, testing the water saver garden. And I'm a big plant nerd, so it's a great joy for me to plant anyway.
So can you kind of give us an idea of how you began your process from your planning to what we see here today?
I can tell you that when I moved in, the only thing in the front yard was this mountain laurel tree. And it was basically dead grass or Bermuda grass.
Okay.
And of course, there's a lot that I wanted to try my hand at growing. And I wanted to have a hummingbird garden, or a wildscape, would, I guess, be my garden style.
Okay.
And so I could not wait to get started. I did actually spend a year mowing that horrible grass before I started the project. And I applied for the coupons online and went shopping. And when I started, I actually did this front yard with 2 coupons. This is a very large area, but I stretched them. I wanted it to be more than 200 square feet. I wanted to have as little grass left as possible.
Brad, I know there's some differences between the rewards coupon and the landscape coupons. Customers seem to constantly be asking questions about this. Can you explain a little bit more about the differences in those 2 programs, and also what did you use in your yard so that people can get a visual and a better idea of how to use these coupons?
Sure. I mean, I understand they're both called coupons and it can get a little confusing. I used the Water Saver Landscape coupon because I wanted to take out a huge chunk of the front yard all at once, and I knew what I wanted to do. So I was ready to spend some money on a big project.
Okay.
And that's the Water Saver Landscape coupon is $100 off at the cash register for 15 plants.
Okay.
And so I wanted to do 2 of those across the whole front yard. And because it was big, it was a big project, I ended up spending a couple $100s on mulch. So a lot of times for some customers it can be a little daunting to spend that kind of money all at once, and that's where the rewards coupons come in. That's a different program. It's a smaller scale program, but you can start up a rewards membership at SAWS on their website, and we'll give you that link. And then you get credits for the classes you take about landscaping. And as you take classes, you accumulate points, and when you get enough points, your rewards will be coupons to use at nurseries.
Okay.
In $30 and $50 and $70 denominations. And so you can get specific plants, or in my case, you can get shovels or tools for the yard or bags of mulch.
And if
for small scale projects.
And if I'm correct, it's a total of $150?
You can $150 per year.
Okay, okay. So let's take a look at your yard, and maybe you can explain a little bit how you went about putting in your plants and how you selected the plants you have here.
Okay, that's great.
Brad, let's take a look at some of these plants that you've got in here. You've got a great diversity of plants, and all of the natives and drought tolerant, disease resistant, I'm sure. So could you kind of show us a few of these?
I can show you a few. One of the plants I'm holding right now is one of the original 15 plants.
Okay.
And I basically, in my plant selection, I kind of went for the classic, spikes and mounds look, which is, by spikes and mounds, I always say that. Mounds are those sage-like plants you see in the front that just kind of grow in a clump. And then the spikes were these kind of mully grasses, which are great, they're breezy, that when the wind blows, this is just constant movement and texture. And very hardy. I wanted to use all the natives, and I did learn some things about my soil type as I went on. I learned that I am not in the hill country.
Okay, that's a good thing, probably.
This is deep clay. I can put a shovel in the ground here and I can pound it all the way into the ground.
Oh, great.
So a lot of those hill country plants did not, like yuccas, didn't do well here.
Okay.
I planted this 4 years ago. It's been 4 years of rain until this year. And a lot of the hill country type plants didn't make it. And so what you see left are the plants that did.
And it looks like you're paying attention to the wildlife, the hummingbirds, the other birds that could be coming in. providing them nesting areas and places for water.
You are correct. I am a big bird watcher, and this is designed as a hummingbird garden.
Okay.
So this is the end of August. In the next couple of weeks, all the hummingbirds will be coming through, and there are days when I'll have 50 hummingbirds in the yard.
How interesting, how fun.
This has been a very dry year, so I've got hummingbird feeders out this summer because there's not a lot of flowers at the end of this summer.
Okay.
But I did want, because it was a water saver garden, this year, 2022, the year of a pretty bad drought,
Yes.
I wanted to see what it could do with no water.
So you've not watered the yard at all?
I permitted myself one watering a month,
Okay.
and that was for the grass. But I have to tell you, the water saver landscape plants, these have been no trouble at all this year. They may not look their best, they're not in full bloom, but their roots are strong and healthy. And now that we've gotten rain, they'll be in bloom in a week, just in time for my hummingbirds.
Great, great. Brad, I'm not sure if we've really touched on the design principle that you may have used in establishing your yard and your gardens. Could you explain a little bit about what your thought process was with that?
Well, to start out, this was all Bermuda grass. So I just laid out cardboard and mulch on top. And I did the classic circle in a square. I just did a loop around the front yard. That's where my little grass island was going to be, my lily pad of grass. And then everything else was going to be landscaping. And I call it the circle in a square. So that all of the borders of the property are buttressed with water saver gardens. Where it's hot over by the street, it's got strong plants over there. So the grass has a little spot in the center to be wimpy.
So it was really important that you determine the sun and shade areas of your yard.
Yes, it was. And at the time, we were standing in shade. In the early days, this huge cedar elm, and you see some remnants of it, covered this area, and this was pretty dark.
Okay.
And then after the first year of my water saver garden, that tree fell,
Oh,
and suddenly I was in the sun.
okay.
And ever since, I've noticed these water saver gardens are actually, they are great places. I mean, these are great places to grow trees. And I wish I had planted trees sooner.
Well, I do see that you've got a volunteer over here with an oak that's coming up. And is this another volunteer?
This is a mountain laurel. This is this parent mountain laurel right here. And there is a cedar elm coming up. I'm allowing these to come up in this section of the garden because I need shade over on this end.
Okay.
That's where my cars are. I want shade in the street. And so it's a great opportunity. I mean, I weed this. I haven't had to weed it much this year because it's been so dry.
Right.
But I have started to leave trees. These are candidate trees for future shade trees.
What a great idea to just let nature take its course.
It's an opportunity here, which I like to know my weeds.
Yes, yes. And a weed is just a displaced plant in
It's
a gardener's world.
or maybe it will choose the right place.
That's right. That's right. Well, Brad, thank you so much for being with us today, and we appreciate all the sharing you've given us and tips on your yard and gardening in general, as well as all the programs that SAWS is offering right now. And is there anything that you'd like to say in closing as far as a customer that might have a question? Where would they go? Who would they talk to if they're wanting more information about your programs?
So gardenstylesa.com
Okay.
is a great place to start for more information about any of these programs or if you have questions.
Thank you so much. We appreciate all the information and your time today.
Thank you, Nancy. Thanks for giving me a chance to show it off.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Nancy McClintock with Gardening Volunteers of South Texas, and today we're here with Juan Solis. He's with the Conservation Department with SAWS, and we're going to talk a little bit about the programs that they have and some changes that they've recently made to the programs you have available for customers, Juan.
So at SAWS, we're very interested in getting our customers to make those changes in their landscape that are going to help them save water. So since 2013, we've had a program that is geared to helping customers reduce the amount of grass that they have in their yards. Why? Because grass is the most water demanding part of landscapes. So with a landscape coupon, we encourage our customers to get rid of at least 200 square feet of grass and to transform it into a new landscape bed filled with plants that one would purchase with the coupon, and that's 15 plants that must be purchased with a coupon, that are pre-selected and obviously are drought tolerant and appropriate for the San Antonio area. So that new landscape bed would be filled with those plants, and in the long run, once established, will require very little, if any, watering.
That's great, Juan. Can you tell us a little bit about this new outdoor living that we've been hearing about, the program that you've developed?
So the new program, Outdoor Living, is actually, that has transitioned from the Patioscape coupon, which was the sister program to the Landscape coupon that we had before. But we did find over time that it was limiting for customers, because we found a lot of customers wanting to install decks or for example, especially in the far north side where you have a lot of elevation challenges in San Antonio. So, but we didn't have a way to incorporate that into a coupon product. So we developed it and changed it into a rebate program. That way customers are now able to source their material for wherever they can.
Juan, could you, just for simplicity, could you explain exactly the difference between your coupons and the rebate program?
So the coupon program, the way they run is you apply for the coupon and then you go shopping, if you will.
Okay.
And they can only be redeemed at pre-selected vendors that have agreed to accept the coupon. But with the coupon, you pick your 15 plants, for example, for the landscape coupon, and then you take them to the point of sale. They ring up all the plants at the cash register, and then you use your coupon to get a discount on the total purchase. So for example, if you pick 15 plants, well, you have to pick 15 plants, and it totals $150. The $100 is applied to the sale, and it's $100 is deducted. So your out-of-pocket is $50.
And is there a plant size requirement for that?
There is, at the minimum of a 1 gallon for the smaller perennials, and then for small trees, it's a minimum of a 5 gallon.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, in terms of the rebate gives you a little bit more flexibility, in the sense that you, the customer, can source the material from wherever. Okay. May it be a small vendor or a large box store. It's up to you. We're just interested in the before grass and after the new patio that you've created using flagstone, pavers, or a new deck.
So one of the most important steps, though, is that pre-inspection.
Correct. The pre-inspection is going to be key, because that proves to me that indeed you had grass and you transform it into what become the post-inspection, where I come back out and actually measure the area, make sure that it meets the requirement.
That's great advice and great information for all of our viewers. Thank you. Okay, so could we simplify and tell me exactly how does somebody qualify and how do they redeem that?
So for the landscape coupon, you just have to have in good standing or SAWS account, a water account, and you must take a picture of the grass that you are going to remove, and then you go online to gardenstylesa.com. You click on the program tile for landscape coupon, and you look for the Apply Now button, and that sends you to the application. So you enter all your information that you typically find on an application, your name, your account number, your address, and how many coupons you are requesting. For the year, you can request up to 4 landscape coupons. So if you were to redeem all 4, you would be committing to reducing or replacing 800 square feet of grass. Remember, it works in multiples of 200s. So for every coupon, 200 square feet of grass must be removed. So you apply, submit it, It's a pretty good turnaround. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get their coupons, if not sooner. But it's pretty quick. And then you take that coupon to a participating vendor and you make your purchase. And then you go home and you start prepping your area. You're removing the grass, prepping the new landscape bed, and plant them, water to establish, and then you're good. It takes about 6 weeks to establish, I would say.
Okay, all right. Juan, could we talk just a little bit more in depth about your outdoor living program and what type of materials people can use for that program, and also sort of develop a little bit of strategy for the budget when they look at this program?
Of course. So this is not a cheap proposition for customers, but it's one that a lot of people do want to incorporate into their landscapes. The idea of increasing your outdoor living space, taking the indoor out, so to speak. So that never comes cheap. But what I think is the most budget-friendly approach to creating such a space is using these 12 by 12 concrete pavers, for example. These are usually anywhere between $1.50 to $2 per square foot. So for the program, you need a minimum of 200 square feet.
Okay.
And 80% of that area must be in this kind of material. Okay, so if it's 200 square foot, you need at least 160 of these 12 by 12s.
Okay.
Now, effectively making that transformation, it qualifies a customer for a $300 rebate. Okay. So depending on the price of the item, it's going to come in probably overall project a little over $300.
Okay.
Potentially. Things vary, prices vary, as we all know, from store to store. But I think that is the most budget-friendly approach. I would encourage our customers to go online at gardenstylesa.com to look at different examples as well, to get ideas, because you can combine this with a river rock, as long as it's not more than 20% of the space. Again, 80% must be in this kind of material.
Okay.
So as long as it meets that requirement, you're doing well.
So crushed granite would also be an option?
Crushed granite would be a good option. Crushed limestone.
Okay.
So yeah, it would be.
Okay, well great. Thank you for that. So Juan, it's difficult for people to visualize exactly what 200 square feet means. Is there something we could equate that to, or some visual that people could be pointed to so they give a better idea of what they're thinking about?
Absolutely. So a 200 square feet is roughly a single car garage or a large single car space in a parking lot, for example.
Okay.
Or a very large four-door pickup with an extend cab, the area that would consume. Imagine that in your yard, if you can. That's roughly 200 square feet.
Okay.
For the landscape coupon, you can estimate like that and do well to do that. But for the outdoor living, it's going to become very important that you do measure out very specifically.
Okay.
So perhaps an easy way to do that is to take a 60-foot rope or 60-foot extension cord,
Okay.
whatever it is, as long as you can tie them at the end and just extend it out. That's roughly 200 square feet.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and there happens to be a video on gardenstylesa.com in the video gallery that walks you through that specifically.
Perfect, perfect. Mm-hmm. Well, Juan, we've gotten a lot of great information today, and we appreciate you working with us and educating our public on this. So thank you again for being with us.
Thank you for having me.